Hello and welcome back to the Yarn Horse Crafting Podcast. My name is Sasha and this is my little alcove of the internet where I like to talk all things crafting. It is the 27th of August at the time of recording. This goes live tomorrow, which is 28th. Housekeeping up front, there is only a couple of days left of my make along, which is the finish along. If you have any entries that qualify, please make sure to put them into the group chat on Ravelry, the finished object thread. There will be a prize draw. It will be a pattern prize up to the value of 10 UK pounds. So I will draw in my next video because the last day for this month is Monday, I believe. So I shall draw that next week's episode. So do make sure you get your entries in now. And today I have 2 finished objects and 2 whips to talk about. I will start with the biggest finished object, which I had planned. I hoped I'd have this finished. I was pushing myself to get this finished, so much so that I've given myself a thumb injury from crocheting this. I have a finished sheep. So this is the sheep toy pattern by Deb DeZio. And it is for this crocheted loop stitched sheep. And I have added giant googly eyes, which you can hear. The head's also very floppy. It is very secure on there. I've used 3 separate strands to sew this on. But I think the only way I'm making it more stable is to stitch down here. But I want the head to be able to move a bit, because when you sit it down, you kind of want the head to fall forward rather than being up here. So I have finished the sheep. I wish I could say I enjoyed every minute of this. I enjoyed making the head, the ears and the legs, but the fleecy bit and the main body I did not enjoy. I don't like the loop stitch. It's very effective, it looks very nice. I just don't like doing it. So there will not be another one of these. I will say, however, this ate up a lot of yarn. I don't know how obvious it is, but I had to buy another skein of black to finish this, because I finished the head and the ears, I did one leg, and I ran out of yarn, so I had to buy some yarn to finish this. However, I used about 40 grams of it from the skein, so I don't feel like it was a waste buying that skein. If I needed it for 10 grams, I'd have been a bit annoyed, but I ended up using 40 from it, so. That might have also been because I also left a lot of room for sewing, and I used a lot to sew on the head, and so, but. The yarn I used was, so the original 2 yarns I had was Yarnsmith's Create Aran, which is a 100% acrylic yarn in black and off-white. The Aran I bought to finish it was Hayfield's Bonus Aran in black. It's a slightly brighter black than the Yarnsmith's, but to be honest, it's not that noticeable unless you're really looking for it, because I think the most obvious place is probably the fleece on top of the head, but it kind of works. And okay, 3 of the legs are made in a slightly brighter black and 1 of them is completely the other one. But I only know which one it is because it's ever so slightly bigger. The yarn smith was ever so slightly thicker. So, but now that this is done, I am going to box this up with the jumpers and get this sent off. Probably tomorrow, maybe Tuesday. And if you're there wondering why I'm not doing it on Monday, it's a bank holiday this Monday, so my local post office definitely won't be open. I'm going to get these shipped off. This is for the older child. I was hoping to make a toy for the baby, but I've kind of run out of time. And to be honest, I've also run out of steam on baby and child makes. I want to get back to making stuff for me, and to be honest, I don't think the newborn baby is going to notice that her sister has a toy. So I am going to throw in like a couple of other little bits. There'll be like a card, a gift voucher for the parents to go out for a meal or something. Or I'll probably get one of those, I think it's like multi-use gift cards they can use for anything. Use it for a meal, buy stuff, something for them. I think a lot of the times when new babies are born, they get lots of gifts for the baby, but nothing for them. And to be honest, they're still independent, you know, people with autonomy and everything. You know, it's not all about the baby. You know, the mother has spent 9 months growing this child. I think she deserves a reward as well. I would send like a box of chocolates, but I think one of them has a nut allergy, and trying to find nut-free chocolate, I'd rather just send a gift card so they can buy some themselves if that's what they want. So this will be heading off to its new home, and since this isn't mine, it's not for me, I am not going to be naming it. That is up to the child it will be given to. Finished object number 1, and this used about 250 grams of yarn. I don't know how, because so I weighed the two. I weighed it before I stuffed the body, and then I weighed the head before I stuffed it and the other bits, and added up it came to 250 grams of yarn. I used the black and the white to knit the jumpers, so they weren't a full 100 grams. And I only used 40 grams out of the other thing, but it's added up to 250. I'm not even going to question it. It seems like it's an extra 10 or 15 grams out of stash that might not have actually been used, but 250 grams out of stash, that's better than last month put together. So I am going to give this like a quick steam, like give it a blast with a bit of hot steam just to make sure there's no fluff. And I've somehow managed to keep this away from the cat. So my neighbour's cat comes in occasionally, although unfortunately that will be stopping soon because they're unfortunately moving away. But I've managed to keep this away from the cat, which is an achievement because that cat gets everywhere. So for the first time today, I've managed to get the sheep to actually stand up on its own. I've usually had to sit it down. It's actually standing. Oh, and the size. Last week I think I said it was supposed to be 9 centimetres. No, it's supposed to be 9 inches. Yeah, it's closer to 15. But, Oh, and I didn't make the tail to put on the end. After sewing the head on, I realised I'd have to make the tail in the black. I thought a random black blob at this end might not look right, given the butt is completely white. I don't think it needs a tail, to be honest. I think this looks perfectly sheepish without a random black tail poking out the end. So, excuse me, I'm just gonna have a quick drink. And finished object number 2. This is the other thing I'd hoped to have finished this week, and I did manage to get it finished, and it is this pair of socks. I finished these on Monday. So these are using the Stylecraft Head Over Heels Christmas yarn, which is 73% superwash wool, 25% nylon, 2% polyester, which is the sparkle. I don't know how well that's showing up, but there is sparkle in this, and this is the colourway Nativity. So I knit these on a 2.5mm needle, 64 stitches, 20 rounds of 2x2 rib, 65 rounds for the leg, heel flap and gusset, 64 rounds for the foot, and a wedge toe. So I made these for me. I now have, I think this is my second pair of Christmas socks, maybe my third. Second. I know I finished the Yuletide socks beginning of this year. This might be my second. I might have another pair. Might. Honestly can't remember at this point. Mostly because I haven't actually looked at my hand knit socks all summer. So, but I have another pair of socks, which I am very, very happy about. So I have another finished object, which means this week I have more finished objects than I did in last month as a whole. So these were, I think, about 60 grams of yarn, 65 maybe. So it doesn't take a lot out of stash, but we're slowly making progress here. Have I just ordered 3 skeins of yarn to make a jumper for a friend next year? Let's not talk about that. So, yeah, finished object. They don't match. This yarn was just too crazy to try and make it match. So I think, yeah, right there. And it's not perfect stripes anyway. It's quite random and variegated. So we didn't see the point. Sometimes in like very, very distinct stripes, I will attempt to make them match. This wasn't worth it. That it's quite random. It looks random. I think the only way you're going to realise that these do actually have a striping repeat is if you look really, really closely, or you were part of the design process for this yarn. So, I will probably be getting some more of this soon because I need to make more Christmas socks. Yeah. Finished object number 2. Just a small one, and yep, it's a little bit more off the stash. I kind of need to start tackling this lot because it started to sort of explode over. But I will allow myself to cast some stuff on soon. Now that I've finished the sheep, I have permission to cast on another project for myself. But I've kind of been recovering from doing my thumb. Like, I don't know if it's like repetitive strain injury or it's because of when I was doing the loopy stitch, I was holding my hook quite differently in order to achieve it because I was having to tension it differently and it was causing. So I think it's that. But because of the project I want to cast on is DK weight, I've kind of been allowing my thumb a little bit of time to heal before I dig this out, which should be at least 8, if not 100 grams out of stash, which would be nice. But I've got to knit it first. So, project, or should I say whip 1. This is another pair of socks. Is it the pair of socks I said I was going to have as a half-finished object? No. However, this is a half-finished object already. I picked these socks up after finishing these. I actually thought I was a bit further along than I was, but whatever. I'm trying to get these done, and then I'm going to focus on the opal socks for my partner as my next pair of socks, to get them finished. That the opal socks is still on the first sock, whereas this one had a finished sock, so I figured, because these are also shorter, they might be quicker, they're less stitches because they're for me. So the yarn is this gorgeous skein, which was by Fruitful Fusion. The colourway is Ryad, and it's a very autumnal feeling yarn, with browns and greens and oranges in there. And I have, so the last time you saw this, I had just this finished. I thought I'd already cast on the second sock and done the cuff. Apparently I hadn't. So I started the sock on Tuesday, so 2 days ago, and I am this far through. I am now at the point where I can add the heel flap, or start doing the heel flap. So this is 64 stitches on a 2.5mm needle with 20 rounds of 2x2 rib, and then 18 rounds of what I'm calling a mini waffle stitch. I was in the mood to do a textured sock. I started doing this texture and realised it was pointless because you can't actually see it because of how busy the yarn is. However, on this sock, I was too lazy to rip back, so I just made this one to match. It's just a knit purl texture, so I don't know, it took like an extra hour. You know, it's basically a rib, but alternating in such a way. So it's got 18 rounds of the mini waffle and then 40 rounds of stocking stitch. I'm now going to add the heel flap, and then yeah, I'm hoping I'll have these finished for next week. It'd be nice to have these finished for next week, just to have another sock finished, and then I can focus on the opal socks. I'm also going to be casting on, once I've finished this pair, I'm going to be casting on another pair of socks for me, which is going to be this skein. It's a Halloween skein from last year, from My Switch Yarns. It was a Halloween 2025 mystery skein. Unfortunately, Mandy of My Switch Yarns is not currently dyeing as far as I'm aware. She's closed her Ko-fi shop, or is in the process of closing the Ko-fi shop, which is sad. I do like her dyeing style, but you know, it's her shop. She can do with it what she pleases. You know, if it's not financially viable for her, then, you know, as much as I'd love to say I'd keep buying yarn from her forever, you know, I like a lot of dyers, and I can't just support one dyer. But this will be my next sock cast on for me because it's Halloween-y. So, and it's also been sat in stash for almost a year, so. Whip number 1. Whip number 2 is only a little whip, or it's kind of a half-finished whip, kind of. So this is a bag by That's So Becky. This is a bag I made myself. And these are my Pioneer gloves that I started in 2024. No, I think it was beginning of 2025. So that's the first glove. It's a rib pattern, so I know it looks a bit funky. They are elbow length. I haven't yet come in to do the thumb because, well, when I pulled this out last night, I didn't want to do the thumb. So, I think you'd seen that as finished. I have now cast on the second one, and I have, I think, about 10 rounds. It's little, it's very, very little. Obviously, I have a lot of knitting to do on this. There's no way this is being finished for next week. But I would like to start making some progress on this. This would be good knitting to take to the gym, except I go to the gym very, very rarely these days. I do more fitness classes, mostly because, well, it's hard to slack off at a fitness class because the teacher or instructor is pushing you and egging you on and helping you. Whereas when I go to the gym, I sit on the recline bike for an hour and knit and burn like maybe 100 calories. 200 if I'm feeling especially vigorous that day. So I kind of need to start working out. Maybe once I've finished this sock and maybe progressed on the other sock, maybe I'll have this as my out and about knitting. But at the moment my focus is on socks. So it'd be nice if I told you the yarn for this, wouldn't it? I shall pull it out of the bag. And is the thing in here? Yes, it is. So this yarn is by Attic Spin Dye. It is the Rocker Bunny Fabulous, which is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon blend. And it is this beautiful, like, almost neon pink and black. It's looking a bit more neon on camera than it is in real life, but it is quite, like, dark and moody pink rather than a bright neon highlighter pink, which I love. It's one of my favourite colours. So yeah. Once I've finished this glove all the way, I'll add the thumb. I think with the way I want the thumb, it's literally pick up and knit like 5 rounds on the thumb and then cast it off. But yeah. So I will put this on. I don't know how well this is going to go on over my watch. It's not too bad. So it's not too bad. It does actually fit the watch amazingly. So yeah, I think it looks really good. I do quite like it. The original plan when I cast these on was to make elbow length gloves. It's just it's a lot of rib stitch. I usually don't mind rib, but I think because this is all rib, I get a little bit fatigued with it after a while. But I do quite want these, like, and we're coming into the season where I would need them. So I think I kind of need to just put a little bit of focus in. But I think I need to put a bit of focus into a lot of projects. So yeah, that's everything for this week. I have not touched anything else, surprisingly. I focused on the sheep. When I wasn't working on the sheep, I was working on these. I finished these on Monday. I picked up the socks. I finished the sheep yesterday. When I finished the sheep, I pulled this out to work on. I think I pulled this out to work on because it was quite late. I just got to the point of doing the heel flap, and I could not be bothered to start the heel flap. So I started the second one of these. Could I have probably finished the heel flap last night if I'd wanted to? Yes. But just slow and steady progress. I have a few other projects I should probably get some focus in on. But other than that, I don't really have any plans for this coming week other than hopefully finishing these. That's literally the only goal I've got for this week, is to finish these. It'd be nice to finish them before the end of August. I highly doubt that's going to happen. I have a feeling I'm going to finish these on like Tuesday or Wednesday, so beginning of September, but it's fine. It's fine. We'll get there. And with that, I'm going to leave it here. I don't really have much else to say. It's not been a week of anything, like, I've not really done anything this week. It's all been sort of the mundane stuff, like a lot of fitness classes, stuff around the house, family, you know, nieces and nephews, dealing with them, and that's basically everything. I don't think you want to hear about any of that. It's quite boring, to be honest. It's just been a regular week, which is fine. Like, not every week needs to be super exciting. And with that, I'm going to leave it here. I hope you have a lovely weekend. If you have a bank holiday weekend, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye, guys.